Let's get onto that in a minute. But from start to finish, there wasn't a boring moment. And one of the things I'd like to say before I give with one hand and take away with the other is um, there were echoes for Barcelona's thrashing to be analysed. There were echoes of what happened at Stamford Bridge. When a team is urgent and presses in unison and then is nasty, cobra quick and nasty with what they do with the ball once they've punished or pushed Barcelona into surrendering possession. At that point, you can make Barcelona look flimsy. You can make them look like an under-19 team because it's when they are in the ascendancy, when they dominate the ball, when they create triangles in order to get an extra man, a spare man, third man runs, but also free men. When you let them do that, that's when their ability on the ball, they're football brainiacs. They have resources everywhere, even with Rafinha and Pedri out. If you allow them to do that, then even when you're playing well, they will wear you down and they'll create so many chances that they'll be in the game. Chris says an absolute robbery, disgusting from the Madridista ref. Okay, we'll come back to that, Chris. So what I thought stood out was the absolute clarity of Cholo Simeone's plan and then how his players affected it. They ran out of steam a little bit in the second half, I think. And if we're completely honest, while there's a case to be made for the scoreline being different because Barcelona could have come away with this with anywhere from 1 to 3 goals, Atléti at some stages looked like they were going to hit 6 or 7. So give with one hand and take away with the other. Still looking at Atléti right now. One, where has that been since a similar performance, which was the 5-goal spanking of Real Madrid earlier in the season? Where does that go to? What happens in terms of, listen, we know, to me, it's a rhetorical question, but I think one of the things that I tried to do in communicating with you is that, I go to these games, I go to interviews, I speak to ex-players, I speak to other coaches, so does Pete, so does Jamie. And what we know is it is not give a dog a bad name when we talk about Cholo Simeone being superstitious, jumpy, not scared of his own shadow, but overly conservative. Because look at the way in which they took a couple of punches to the face against Real Madrid and then scored 5 and looked as if they could go on scoring all day. Tonight in that cup tie, never mind the rough and tumble, never mind the fact that there are things to complain about, genuinely for neutrals to complain about. The fact is that was utterly scintillating. It was really nasty. It was scalpel like in who to press, when to press, and what to do when they got the ball. The integration of Lookman into the team is, as some of us, I can't remember who it was me, wrote about for ESPN, that his two-footed, direct, daring style would unlock what Griezmann does well, could unlock space for Julian to profit. And Lookman did really well. And Lookman also gave Koundé, who was not Barcelona's worst player, an horrendous night. They go out there in red and white, convinced. Where has that been to? They absolutely knew, and if they even went out believing, the certainty dripped into their performance from long before the own goal from Eric Garcia. There's a couple of messages here from Paul. Kerwin might be trying to rebuild this wall. Owen's here. Good evening. Sorry, Kerwin, this is not